Hello, everyone, and welcome down to episode number 104 of the Down South Photo Show with me, Brendan Waits, here in Ocean Grove, Victoria, Australia. And the guy on the other screen there, or in your other ear, if you are listening to the show, it is Cam Blake in Hobart, Tasmania, Australia. Hello, Cameron. How's the cricket going?
Cricket is going well, 5 for 337. David Warner made a ton. Not happy about that.
No,
His
you're not a big
wife's
David Warner fan for some reason.
his wife's a dickhead. He's a dickhead. He's not an Australian. He's a cheat, and I don't like him.
There he goes. He used to subscribe to the channel, but never mind.
If he did subscribe to the channel, I would actively kick him off.
We are recording this as the Perth Test is happening, folks, and Cam and I don't mind watching a bit of cricket. So
we watch a bit of cricket. Yeah, we watch a bit of cricket. But I tell you what, I didn't watch it when he started making runs. I turned it off. You know what I did watch?
I was busy making rectangles, so I couldn't watch it anyway.
You know what I did watch? I love old history stuff. I'm not a history buff, but I love watching like the World War I and II and stuff like that. And I'd actually just finished what's the word they say? Binging. Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, my wife watched that and loved it, and I've never really got a chance to watch it. I hear
Yeah,
it's
well
when you show.
When you do 2 15-hour flights, you sort of find something to get into, and that was good. But I finished watching that, but I like all that sort of that historic in that period, like the early 1900s. Anyway, I found something on Netflix, which is like World War II footage that's all been restored and digitally mastered and upgraded. And it's very fascinating to watch it in color. It's like in high def. It's just like, wow, okay, this is really cool. And it's all footage from in the plains or in the towns or whatever it might be during World War II. And I got stuck into that today instead of watching David Warner make a ton. So
wow, yeah, that's cool. I think I have heard of that documentary. They painstakingly restored footage, and colorized it as well.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Like, I can't imagine how they do it. Like, I guess it would have been shot on small film, would have been 35mm film, would have been like sort of whatever half that is.
It was probably shot on 16mm film, I think, which
was
the forerunner to Super 8. So I would imagine that's what it was.
So that would have all had to be digitally remastered and colored and pretty incredible. So
speaking of, and it kind of is related to what we do, because I love watching movies that have got incredible camera work. I always watch, like, cinematography, they call it. I watch it. It is cinematography, right? Yeah. I watch it and I'm like, how the hell did they achieve that? And particularly the ones you watch where you know it's real, it's not CGI or anything like that.
Yeah.
And the one that springs to mind is the movie 1917. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it. Is that the one with it, like, it's a continuous...
Cameron's homework for this week is to watch 1917 and a report back. It's all done in one shot, in inverted commas.
I think I have seen most of that, and I was impressed.
I think it's the one that was directed by Kate Winslet's husband. I'm sure he likes being known as Kate Winslet. It's Mendes.
Isn't that Jack? Isn't that Jack?
Yeah, that's right. No, he drowned, and there was enough room. There was enough room on
that bloody door.
She was
selfish woman. Totally.
But
we're now critiquing movies on this show.
But that movie 1917, you watch it, and I mean, clearly it wasn't all done in one take, but the way they seamlessly stitch it together, and you're looking for the cuts, and it's absolutely incredible. And the behind the scenes documentary on it is worth watching in its own right. It's so good.
Do you know what they do well in it? Do you know what they do well in it? I think I have seen it, but a while ago. But what they do really well in that movie to hide the cuts is they pan the camera.
Yes.
So he walks through a scene of a building and he sort of comes through the other side, and they seamlessly split it up in that transition of him walking and then panning. So it's sort of
and then you find out. I found out later that like they do a panning shot with all buildings in, and one of the buildings that passes actually hides the cut, and that building is the cut. It's amazing. Yeah, really clever stuff. So welcome to the Down South Cinematography Show.
What was that old guy who used to do the movie reviews in Australia?
Bill Collins.
Bill Collins, that's him. Yeah. Boring as batshit.
Yeah, but hey, he was good though.
Yeah, a bit like our show.
Lee Patch. He's a good and
I remember the SBS, the lady and the man on SBS. They've been around for years.
Margaret Pomeranz.
You're an encyclopedia of BS.
I can't remember the guy's name though.
Yeah.
So anyway, people are screaming the answer at their radios and their headphones as we speak.
Yeah.
thanks to all the 728 people who have liked, subscribed, and followed the channel on the YouTubes. We do appreciate that. I do believe I said
Yes,
only
you
days
did.
ago that I would come back with some stats. Yeah, well, I haven't done that because someone's been a bit busy, and I don't care if you think that's an excuse or not. That's what I'm using. It's
It's
an
terrible.
excuse.
I reckon there was
And
about 20. There's about, yeah.
when was the last time the Down South Photo Show put out 2 episodes in 1 week?
When?
I don't think it's
Is this a
happened.
trivia? Is this a trivia question?
No, I don't
Um,
actually know. It was rhetorical, but
no, I don't. I don't think we have.
no, how
Oh no, I think
exciting.
we might have. I think we might have done when I went away somewhere. We did
Probably,
one, but
probably during
but we,
COVID, we put them out every day.
well, that's it. But I don't think we posted it in. I think we recorded two in the week, but we didn't post them in
Ah,
the week.
yes.
People won't know. People are going to expect. This is like a bit of a precedent. People are going to expect two shows a week now.
Well, it was interesting. And in fact, if you would like to leave a comment below, we'd be interested in your feedback.
No, we don't want feedback, Brendan.
For years, literally for years, well, more than two, we've been
Mm.
putting the photo show out on the Friday night. This went out on a Monday night this week. It was interesting. I'm just curious to see whether people like the Friday night lead into their weekend and the
I
Monday
think we
podcast or
didn't. Didn't we
what's best.
experiment a bit that like we did experiment about the audio did really well on Monday because people were going to work
Yes,
and needed something on the car or on the train.
yes.
But the
And then
people
I
are
forgot to do that and just
then you
put them
butchered
both
it.
out on the Friday.
That's right. You butchered it the very first week. And then and then the video, the YouTube's option, I think people like to sit down on a Friday night with a couple of beers because people
Yes,
get the shits if we don't put out something on Friday night. We
I
get
know.
comments and
I know. We cop grief, but
who's the
that's
person?
fine.
Someone watches the gardening show instead of us.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's Jenny Cooper.
It might be Jenny Cooper
Yeah.
watches, what's his name? Basil, not Basil. Uh,
Yeah, I know who you mean. See,
yeah,
there's a name that slips my
the
mind.
dude
Yeah,
looks like he walked out of a garden.
he does look
All
like a
right.
garden gnome.
Hey, why have you got wings?
Oh, should we do backgrounds? What a
Yeah, I'm just going to
segue, Cameron.
segue our way in there.
Okay, let me cover up. So I thought I'd go with something a bit different. It's actually a photo I'm really proud of. And
No.
it was down at Barwon Heads the other night. I went there last night as well. I'll come back to that in a second.
Thought you were
But
busy.
this
Oh, that's
is,
cool.
look, I'm so happy to have got this shot. So this is your Nankeens Kestrel. Thank you, Sandy
No,
Goddard, for pointing that out to me. Um, and yeah, I was down at the Barwon Heads Bluff, and I saw him. Sorry, I don't know, Cameron, him, her. Help me
well,
out.
look, I don't want to offend anyone by saying the wrong thing, so we'll say
Okay,
it.
I'm going to say they were hovering down over the bluff as I was approaching. I thought, oh, and then it ducked away, and I thought, okay, what are the odds that this thing's going to come back? I'll go for a look. So I walked down the path and just sort of waited and was looking out to sea. It was actually quite pretty. And then all of a sudden, this thing just flew up, sort of off to my left, hovered over the beach for a second, and then flew even
Mm,
higher up over the track that I was walking on and
cool.
sat above me about 25 feet in the air. So you're
And thought,
looking at the 100 to 400 on the EM1X right there. And
nice.
I put it on bird tracking mode, Cam. You'll be happy to know I did that.
How good's that work?
And burst mode and just went like that and got that photo.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is the frame right before it is nowhere near as good because his wing is just tilted and it blocks the sun from the body of the bird.
Yeah, I
And
think
that
that's the light on the bird's really nice.
yeah, that's what kind of makes it. And that was the thing. The
Mm,
light just there on that wing
yeah.
wasn't there one frame before it, and I was in burst mode. These things, the wings
Yeah.
really go flat out. So
Well, that's
probably
the
the
th
sharpest bird in flight photo I've ever taken. So I'm quite happy with it.
yeah. And they're good those birds because once they get their balance, they sort of stay
It's
relatively still.
unbelievable how
And you
you
can see
watch them.
their head's a gyro.
It's
Like it
crazy.
doesn't move. Yeah.
It's just
It's very cool.
the eyes are locked like they're on GPS, like a
Yeah.
drone, and the
Yeah.
body just keeps those eyes locked on its
Well,
target.
have you seen that video where they hold an eagle out in its hand? They spin the body of the eagle, but its head
Yes.
does not move.
Yeah, they do it with a chicken
So
as well.
chicken, yeah. Is that
Chickens do
before
it
or
too.
after they get thrown into the surf?
That was on that channel, Smarter Every Day. Fantastic channel.
Clearly, we didn't watch that one.
Yeah, that's right.
We
That's right.
got
Smarter
dumber
Every
every
Day.
day.
That's
Yeah,
not for us. Yeah, that should be a good
no,
channel. We'll put up that Dumber Every Day. Dumb
dumber
and
every
Dumber.
day.
Background, Cameron. What do you got?
Background. I'm still an American background here. This is
And why
from
wouldn't you
Bryce
be when it
Canyon.
looks that good?
Yeah, Bryce Canyon National Park, we had this is actually minus 10 degrees when I'm shooting this.
Yep.
Um, and the sun was out. There wasn't a breath of wind, bit of ice and snow around. It was really lovely, but it was really cool to see the back of these little sandstone pillars. They're almost translucent. They get lit up from the back, and then everything in front reflects back onto the shadow of it, which is really cool. So
Yeah, that is
you
cool.
you, you get some really cool shade. Usually you get like just shade on the front of those things, but you can see the top right there, the one that's in full sunlight. That there was one behind me that was sort of lighting up this one. So yeah, really, really cool place, and looking forward to going back there again. But yeah, just really beautiful light. Minus 10, like I said, was pretty cold, but it was actually bearable. Like I was really surprised. That was one thing I probably um, took away from that place more than anything, was that even though it was freezingly cold, it was still easy to go shoot and get around, and it wasn't too bad. So
Yeah.
beautiful place. If you've been there
That
before, people.
question without notice. The
Mm.
the pillar that's there in the distance, so the one up in the top right-hand corner as I'm looking at, yes, that one.
Yes,
How
yes.
far away is that from you?
Oh, not far.
Okay. I'm just
That'd be
trying to
only
get a
about.
sense of the scale here.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we can see the track running along there.
Oh, right,
Like
yes.
the bottom of that track would only be 50 meters away from me.
Yeah, okay, right.
So that pillar up there, I would say that pillar was about 20 meters tall. So not
Yeah,
huge.
okay. Yeah. It's
But
funny, isn't
then
it?
the one,
Because it
mm,
looks like it could be a lot taller than only twenty
yes,
meters. Yeah.
it does. It looks like it's a real sort of centerpiece of the whole location. The one behind me there, like that'd only be 2.5, 3 meters tall there as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um, yeah, it was good. It was a bit slippery on the ice, which is something you got to be careful of when you're out in the winter.
Yeah, definitely.
But beautiful colors, and we're really lucky to get those conditions. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Those of you listening along at home might notice I've got a slightly croaky voice. We are in the throes of retail. It's Christmas time, and I have been using my voice all day, and it's barely hanging in there. So bear with me, please. It might be, I don't
yeah.
know, maybe it's a dulcet
Are you,
tone.
are you apologizing?
I am apologizing for having a croaky voice.
Nothing else? You're not apologizing for anything
No,
else?
I do need to make an apology. It's true. And when you're wrong, Cameron.
I don't know. I think I was wrong once, but I think it was a mistake.
No, it's not really an apology. It's more of a recognition. I
Uh,
did receive a message today from a customer that we spoke about last week on the show. When we were talking about intentional camera movement or ICM, I
uh,
may have made an off-the-cuff remark that ICM is easy to duplicate or replicate if you just use blur with Photoshop. And
like we did that live, didn't we? We did it on the
we
episode. I did it within seconds,
that's right.
and you said
Look,
it looked great.
I thought it did look great, and it's safe to say that that someone. I don't want to say they were offended, but I do want to
Don't
say
name names. That'll
I
get us
do
into
want to
trouble.
say that it raised their eyebrows a little because quite naive me and uneducated me. By the way, my wife just walked in, and she's on the podcast now.
Oh,
See,
hello, Sel.
there she is.
We have a guest appearance.
We have
This
it's a
this this show
special guest appearance. Yeah,
this
yeah,
show is going
yeah.
to the shit.
That's right, and she can't even hear you because she hasn't got
No.
headphones on.
Oh, he's just
Always wanted to
apologizing.
do that.
That's Mrs.
All right,
Waits
piss
on the
off.
podcast there. And she's gone now.
All right. Yeah. That's lovely. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's thrown you. Anyway, back to your groveling apology. Go.
I'll probably edit that part out. No, I'll keep it in.
No, keep it in. That's not coming out. Keep it in. Otherwise, when I reference to your wife just randomly throughout the episode,
I'm gonna watch on YouTube and see people scrolling forward to that bit where it spikes just so they can see my wife.
lucky she had clothes on. That was handy.
Well, and clearly I'm batting above my average. Where
Anyway,
were
where
we?
were you?
Yes. I made an off the cuff remark that intentional camera movement can be mimicked using Photoshop. Obviously, it's not that easy. So, if people thought I was coming off as a bit arrogant, a bit cocky, and saying, "Oh, anyone can do that in photo," I didn't mean it like that at all. What I meant was you can turn any of your photos into a blurry image similar to how intentional camera movement is portrayed by using Photoshop. If you wanted to, if you want to experiment with it before you go out and take photos, you could have a go at it do it that way on Photoshop. If I dug this hole deeper, probably.
I'm gonna give you another shovel in a second. Hey, so
You know what I
without
mean.
question without notice then. Do you think ICM is easier to do in camera? Do you think it's a fairly easy
I don't understand
Uh,
the genre,
oh, that's a terrible response.
but it's an honest one. I don't understand it enough. I don't
Mm,
personally, this is my
mm,
opinion. It's not my cup of tea. It ain't my
yeah,
thing.
right.
So I don't understand the genre enough.
Yep,
I'm not saying it's something that I'd never do or try. I mean, I've done it before,
yep.
and I have done it intentionally,
Okay,
intentional camera movement.
yep.
But
It is
it's
a
just not my thing. That's it. I mean, wedding photography is not my thing.
no.
Portrait photography is barely my thing.
Yep.
So it's just another genre that I'm not into. I don't dig it.
It is a genre that a lot of people do experiment in. Like I don't think I've ever come across someone on a workshop who doesn't know what it is or hasn't attempted to do it. Some people say the same thing. Some people say, look, it's not for me. Other people say, oh, I love it. I give it a go, but I'm not very good at it. Or other people, some people, that's all they do.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, it is a very popular thing. We had another comment on our YouTube page. Someone else mentioned that we need to probably have a bit more of a look into ICM. It's not as easy as what people make out to be, and
Yeah.
they also made a note that they were female, because I made a statement last week that I found a lot of females are into that ICM, which I still stand by.
Yeah.
Um, but it's okay. Like we're allowed to have differences of opinions, and we're allowed to not like certain genres of things.
Yeah.
And like I'm being quite honest. I actually find the ICM stuff relatively easy to execute.
Yeah.
Um, I probably don't put as much effort into it, like thought wise, as to how I want to create a shot. But when we're on a workshop trying to explain to someone how we do it and set it up, I find it sort of comes pretty easy. Like, you set it up to here, do this, do that, and
Yeah.
look for this kind of scene. So, but yeah, it was interesting that someone, I guess, for lack of a better word, pulled us up on that.
Yeah, no, and
And I,
rightly so. And
yeah,
we welcome constructive criticism as well. I mean, it's fine. We're
yeah,
learning as well.
yeah.
Um,
We usually delete
uh,
it, but
sorry.
we usually delete it.
um,
But I
so
found it.
much so that there is
Yeah.
an online magazine, icmphotomag.com. So well, I'll link
Is
it.
that
I'll
like
link it below.
right? Is that like a porn mag for
That's right.
ICM people? I do find it interesting when people do get a little bit, I wouldn't say upset, but they get their nose a little bit over the joint when, and not just on this show, but in general. Like it happens at talks you go to, it happens at Bright Festival, it
It
happens at
happens at
workshops,
BFOP on the regular.
it happens at BFOP, that someone says something, and then there's a section of people that love that kind of photography who
Yeah,
they just don't go, oh yeah, that's your point of view and that's mine. They get the pitchforks out and they go pretty hard. And
yeah,
I find that there is a lot of passion in photography, and some people, they love to, like I always hang shit a lot on aerial photography, and say I think aerial photography is quite straightforward to do and it's fairly
yeah,
easy and stuff like that. And every time I mention that, I get the usual suspects all chiming in. And I think it's great that people have passion, but I think we also need to be a little bit more mature about how we deal with photography. Like, just because someone doesn't like aerials, or someone doesn't like ICM, or someone doesn't like landscape, or whatever it might be, it doesn't mean they're a lesser person. It doesn't mean your
yeah.
photography is any less than what you
And
believe it
it
is.
doesn't mean it's no good. I mean,
That
it's
doesn't mean
just
anything. Like,
it's
it's
just
nothing. But
yeah,
it's one of
yeah,
those things now. And again, I think social media's got a lot to answer for there, that as soon as there's a sniff of negative, everyone gets out and sort of gets a little bit on their high horse, where, going back 40, 50 years, if you went into a camera club or into a camera shop or a gallery and looked at the shot on the wall and said, well, I don't really like that. The gallery owner didn't jump out of their chair and have a go at you and, try and
yeah,
shame you.
yeah.
They just accepted that everyone has a different opinion on
Yeah,
art. So
it's quite simple.
yeah,
It's not for you. Move on. Like,
that's
and
it.
that's there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that.
But
That's
no,
fine.
I find it interesting sometimes that people, um, for lack of a better word, they take offense to something that someone else says about a certain type of photography, and they get quite defensive about it.
Yeah,
So sometimes I think that happens in certain genres of photography, and this will rattle feathers, pun intended. But I think some people will get their nose out of joint because they've actually pigeonholed themselves into doing one only type of photography or one type of genre of photography, that if anyone outside of that says, oh, that's not that hard to do, they get quite offended. So,
yeah,
if you're someone that does ICM and that's all you do, and then someone says, oh, that's pretty easy to do and don't like it, I think you're more prone to get offended because that's your bread and butter. You know, that's something that you perfected and that you love doing. And then for someone to come out and say it's no good, then, you know, you sort of get offended a bit easier. But I don't know. It was funny to
Yeah.
watch you get in trouble though.
Yeah, it's nice. Oh, I wasn't in trouble. Phil was very mature about it. He just pointed
I
out that
thought you might have to bleep that name out.
he knows. Yeah, he knows. I did reply as well,
Yeah, that's
and
good. That's good.
I
I
said that
replied to the
there was no offense meant whatsoever. We weren't. I think the main thing was that I just off the cuff said that it's easy to replicate it in Photoshop,
well, I think we can.
which is not the point. It's called intentional camera movement, not Photoshop. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's supposed to be done in camera.
Well,
And
that actually raises.
I would argue that it's actually a difficult genre to do well.
Well,
Um,
that raises a very good question though, because you know, if let's focus on ICM, you know, because it's the topic that we're talking about.
sure.
So we do landscape photography and we drop skies in with the help of AI and Photoshop.
Hmm.
We do, you know, all these different types of genres of photography where Photoshop helps us do things better.
Hmm.
So why can't we just take standard shots of any scene that we know is going to work as ICM and just go create it in Photoshop? Is that considered, you know, is that sacrilege to do
Well,
that in the eyes of that? Or
we're going down a very well worn path, aren't we?
yeah,
This happens in all genres of photography.
yeah,
So and you have to put all the genres of photography under one blanket umbrella
yeah,
called photography.
yeah,
So, and you're using the tools that you've got at your disposal to create an image
yeah.
that you like, that floats your boat.
But what I'm
Um,
saying though, are the people that do the ICM, do they have to maybe relax their stance on their passion around it to say, well, you know what, ICM now can also include doing it in Photoshop with a standard still photo
yeah,
with
yeah.
no movement, but you can act,
Which by definition isn't ICM. By
well,
definition,
it's not in camera
mm,
movement, but
that's right.
we do other things by
Intentional,
definition.
intentional
Intentional.
camera movement.
Well, but we're intentionally blurring the file.
Oh, no, for sure. We're just not doing it in camera. So
Hmm.
that's the difference. And I'm probably just playing semantics here, but I think your point is valid and your point is well made and taken as well, insofar as it's the old trope, isn't it?
Hmm.
That's been photoshopped.
Yeah,
We're back in this room again, Cameron.
I saw a photo today on last week. I mentioned that world class landscape photography thing where the guy had a go at me about something, and I was on
World
there today.
class? Question mark.
Yeah, well, that's him. Yeah,
What a wanker.
funnily enough, he didn't say much after that. He shut down, and a few other people shut him down.
Yep.
But I was on there today, and I saw a picture of this moon, like a half moon, and it
Hmm.
had an aeroplane with the contrails going
Yeah, I've
like
seen
almost
that. That's yes,
straight up the half of the moon.
yes.
And the first comment was, "You can't get that in one shot, AI." And all these comment like, and it's getting really, really common now that every photo
Yep,
that's put up that's a good photo
yep,
is AI. Oh,
yep,
it's AI. It's
yep,
AI's replaced Photoshop.
yep.
Um, and I don't, I like I said, the cat's out of the bag, and it's not getting back in.
Mate, human nature sucks sometimes.
Yeah,
It's we can't have nice things, Cameron. We just can't
no,
because
no.
we've got to go and ruin it. Social media could be friggin' awesome, but it's
It
not.
could be, but it's not. I reckon we
It's a
shut the whole. I said it last week.
it's a
Shut the whole freaking thing down.
cesspool. It's an absolute
Yep.
cesspool of negativity and people wanting to voice. This is the problem. Everyone's
Mm.
got a voice now, and some people just should not have a voice. I'm sorry.
Oh, freedom of speech, mate. Freedom of speech. Hey,
Not
speaking
a,
of cesspools, should
not on
we?
a global free platform. Anyway,
Speaking of cesspools, should we go on to our next topic?
what's our next topic, Cameron?
I wanted to talk about camera clubs.
Nice. Yeah,
They're not
that
cesspools.
yes,
Let's put a
yes.
disclaimer straight in there now. Otherwise, we will lose everyone. They are not cesspools. But I've done you've done a lot of judging and talks at camera clubs. I've done the
I have
same.
indeed.
Almost, I would say 80% of my customers are some way involved with the camera club, whether or not it's online or in person. But the question, I know we've touched on this over the last couple of years vaguely, but I wanted to have a bit of a discussion about whether or not camera clubs are actually still relevant and whether or not they're still beneficial for the members who are going to these camera clubs. And the reason I thought about this, and I've thought about it a couple of times, but it was a little bit on the back of, every time we get a little bit of feedback about something we say, there's generally a bit of an air of a camera club about it. Like, so if we say something about lens balls or we say something about dropping skies in, or we say something about that, there's always some comments that we get that really are almost out of the playbook of camera clubs, where they are very stuck in their ways sometimes about how they do things. And a lot of times they'll have members that are very experienced in photography who stick to their guns about how things should be done, how photos should be taken, stuff like that. But it got me thinking about camera clubs and whether or not, is having that mindset where, majority of camera clubs are generally people in, let's say 45 and over, people that have generally been photographing a long time, or people that have recently retired with plenty of time on their hands and want to get better at it. I sometimes feel that camera clubs can sort of put a bit of a halt on people's development as a photographer, especially if they've got very strong-minded or very strong individuals that have been in the club for a long time, or have the judges, or they're high up in the club. I find that sometimes they can come across quite strong-handed about how people should shoot things and how they should go about their photography. So I wanted to have a chat about your thoughts, because you go to them as well, whether or not you still think camera clubs are still relevant, or are they, again, for lack of a better term, are they sort of like this collection of older people that go and take photos every weekend and go out and miss a lot of this new stuff that's happening in photography? Is it beneficial that they do that, or what do you reckon?
Yeah, definitely. I've got a very strong opinion on camera clubs.
Oh, do we have to put a disclaimer?
I think camera clubs are fantastic.
Okay. Okay.
I really do. I honestly do.
Yeah.
I'm not. Then the reason I do is for their social aspect. So the social side of a camera club can't be denied. What it does, from what I've seen, people who join camera clubs, a lot of people in camera clubs are actually a little bit shy and retiring, and
Yep.
wouldn't normally put themselves out there in a public forum if it weren't for like-minded individuals that continue to encourage them within
Yep.
a safe environment.
Right.
So although and look, I've been involved in camera clubs, I've been involved with golf clubs, my God, I've been involved with, my boy used to do scout clubs, things like that. Every single club that I've been involved in has its issues with certain members
Yep.
that stir shit up, how can I put this? That want to be the leader of the pack, that want to want their name up in lights on the boards and on honor boards and all this sort of stuff. Now, those people aside, the vast majority of people that are involved in camera clubs
Yeah.
are genuine. They're passionate about photography. There's no question about that. But first and foremost, they're after social connection with other like-minded individuals, in this case, photographers, who are, that want to share their work with these people, that want their work critiqued by their peers. I'm all for them. I really am. And to me, it's a little bit of a shame that they seem to be dying out. I get the feeling that numbers are dwindling across camera clubs Australia-wide.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I've got no data to back that up, of course, because I never do, but it feels that way.
Yeah. I see. I sort of, I'm going to go a little bit opposite to you. I think camera clubs, again, for the social side of things, are great. Like,
Yep.
I don't think I've come across a camera club that doesn't have a fairly active social calendar of going out and doing things.
Yep.
But I actually don't think that they're as beneficial as they could be in today's photography game. And the reason why is, I've got lots of customers that come along. I meet lots of people when I go out in places, and if I had $1 for every time someone came up and said, "Oh, I don't want to do this, my photography. Oh, I don't want to do it this way, or I don't want to do this or go that way, or I don't want to shoot this way." And my natural response is, "Well, what do you mean?" "Oh, because the guys at the camera club or the girls at the camera club said, no, don't do that."
Yeah.
I think the camera clubs, to a point, have got to a location in their existence where they are generally more older members, and that's
Yes.
fine. I'll be in a camera club. I'm in a couple of camera clubs, and I'll probably be until I get a lot older than what I am now. But I think what it does, though, I think it actually degrades the potential in that club to expand into more modern photography and follow on what's going on with the new things happening out there, or try different ways to shoot things. Because there is, like you said, there's always a few strong-minded people in camera clubs who, like I said, they want to have their name in lights, or they want to sort of really force down their agendas. But I think camera clubs are great socially, but I think they don't necessarily benefit the industry as a whole, because there's a whole lot of people that could be joining camera clubs, like younger people or people that are really enthusiastic about it. But because of this, I guess it's more of a dying out of the camera clubs. there's no real activeness to try and get new people involved. And
Yeah.
the people that are involved, I think, are losing interest day by day in a way because,
Yeah.
because of what I've mentioned earlier. So
No, no, I
yeah, I don't know.
agree, I think the reason camera clubs are dying off is because they are sticking to their guns in terms of a formula that may have
Yeah,
worked in the 90s,
yeah,
that doesn't work now. And by that I mean it's go to a camera club, they have a monthly comp.
yeah,
Everyone knows what the theme is in advance. Everyone knows, okay, we've got to put in our prints this week. We've got to put in our digital files this week.
yeah,
We've got a guest speaker. We've got a judge. It's very formulaic. Every club seems to run exactly the same way. Now I know
yeah,
in Victoria there's an association for photographic societies. I think it's known as VAPS or something like that. That runs,
yeah,
doesn't run, but it's like a, for want of a better word, a governing body where people can turn to
yeah,
when they want to run a camera club.
yeah.
There, a lot of the activity I see in camera clubs is well past their use by date.
So that, but
And
that can't be beneficial then, can it?
no, that's my point.
Yeah,
And I think that's why, in order to generate new members for camera clubs, I think camera clubs need to start breaking a few molds and
yeah,
definitely, shaking up the way that they do things.
yeah,
And I've got ideas for sure. The issue that I'm finding now is you've almost got to be retired to join a camera club because
yeah,
they do take a wee bit of dedication. There's weekly meetings, there's monthly
yeah,
comps, there's meetups, all this sort of stuff. And I always say to people, because people ask me a lot in the shop, would you recommend a local camera club? Now, I am a card carrying member of the Bellarine Camera Club here.
yeah.
And shout out to a few people I know that listen to the show. Um,
Did
and
listen to the show.
that's right. But that and are dedicated to making
Yeah,
those camera clubs work. I've got advice for them.
yeah.
But who am I to say if I'm not putting my hand up to run it or be
Well,
there or be
yeah,
as involved as I could? And that's not for me to
yeah,
say because I simply don't have, when they invent that eighth day in the week, Cam, and they're going to call
yeah.
it Bren's Day, then I'm going to join a camera club. All right. So,
Right, right. Yeah, not Dick Day. No, I
whoops.
agree. Dick Day. I agree wholeheartedly, and I think this is why the camera clubs, the benefit of the camera clubs is really only limited now to those members, which are dropping in numbers most of the time, which is what I experience as well. And I do lots of talks at camera clubs. Every camera club I've done a talk at, you generally get to sit in at the meeting beforehand or afterwards and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
you're right, they are all the same. They work to a similar structure, a similar formula that worked a few years ago, and probably can work with a little bits of tweaking and twerking. But it's the same thing. Like I go in there and do my talk, and I'm what am I, 45 in a couple of months? I'm a lot younger than most of the people at these camera clubs.
Yeah.
And when I do the talks at these camera clubs, you can see some of the older established members, they sort of tune out a little bit, or they want to come in afterwards. They just want to come and compare what they've done versus what you've done. Becomes a bit of a dick measuring contest again, for lack of a better phrase. And like, I love that. Like, they're not rude about it. Like, they're lovely, but I walk out of some of these meetings and some of these presentations. I'm like, oh, there's so much potential in this club. Like,
Yeah.
they've got a couple of younger members. They've got some really wonderful photographers. They've got some real stalwarts who have been there for years. They're just, like you said, they're just a little bit stuck in their way where they won't turn things around or try things a bit different, or do online Zoom meetings instead of getting everyone into a clubhouse or whatever it might
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, exactly.
So
No,
I
you're right, and that's a big part of it is the
yeah,
adaptation of technology has been really
yeah,
slow. I mean, everyone's got these camera clubs. They got better cameras than me. They've got like
yeah,
the
yeah,
latest gear. They've got the big zooms and all the
yeah.
everything.
And a
But
lot of them have
but here
community
we are
centers. Yeah,
in a town hall with
yeah,
crappy air conditioning and
yeah,
really
yeah.
bad sound, and no one can hear you. And then they plug in a 40-year-old projector that breaks.
Yeah, yeah. I've noticed something probably a little bit different to that. A lot of the chalks I go to, they're in a good community hall, or the council gives them a room, and the councils are all tax funded. They've all got beautiful big projectors and big screens and things like
Yeah.
that. But sometimes when I sit on there and they go through their agenda of what they're going to do, and I'm like, oh, that could be really beneficial to your members if you just did it this way instead of that, because
Yeah.
it's Groundhog Day for a lot of these members, and I think that's why. the memberships are generally older people, and the memberships are generally people that have retired time where they can go and do these things. But
Yeah.
like there is photography is such a massive popular thing these days. I think if there's camera clubs out there that are looking to change direction or try and spark up a few things, they need to sort of look at maybe doing, like I said, things a little bit different, or breaking that mold to do things differently, where
Yeah.
it is going to attract the younger people or the more enthusiastic people, and not just have the same things. Because once at every club there's two or three people that do all the work, and that's across the board for committees, golf, cricket, footy, whatever it
Yeah.
might be.
Yeah.
But as soon
Yeah.
as those people drop off or get sick of it or have had enough time, the clubs fall apart real quickly. So,
Yeah.
and they are a necessary for the industry. Like, we do need camera clubs,
Yeah.
but I'm with you. I can see in the next sort of 5 to 10 years there'll be hardly any left.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not sure how you fix that. It just seems to me this day and age, people, I hate the saying, but it seems like everyone seems to be time poor.
Yeah.
I don't know how true that is, but it's something people like to say, oh, I'm time poor, I've got so much going on. But a lot of it comes back to not wanting to put themselves out there or be involved, and you're
Or to,
exactly
or
right.
poor time management because they're
Or
doing
poor,
things old
exactly.
school.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. But and you're exactly right when it comes to camera clubs. What I find is it is the same people doing the same jobs,
Yeah.
and because they know that if they don't do it, the club's going to fold.
The club. That's right. Yeah.
And it should be mandatory that if you are a member of a camera club for the first 12 months, sure, you don't have to do anything. That's fine. Come along, be a member. But as soon
Yeah.
as you hit that 12 months, you got to start. You got to
Yeah.
start pulling your weight. You got to start, maybe running a comp every month, or
But
you've got
it,
to
but
be
it,
involved in
yeah.
getting a guest speaker or something like that.
But even that, like I've been in meetings where the Constitution's been challenged about a camera club, and it always sends me back to the episode of Seinfeld where they're,
Why is there a bloody constitution? How
but they,
archaic is that?
but a lot of them do. A lot of them have
Yeah.
rules and
Why?
regulations and things like that.
Makes
But
no
it
sense.
just it goes back to, like someone thinks, oh no, our Constitution says we can't do that. Well, guess what? You just lost three members because they've got a really good idea,
Yeah.
and you've just said, no, I'm not going to change it. So this is not a payout. This is not a chewing the ass out of camera clubs or the people that go to camera clubs. Like, we both love camera clubs. I think they are beneficial, but I think they need to be, they could be a lot more beneficial, a lot
They've
more
got to be
relevant.
dragged kicking and screaming into the 21st century. And,
Yeah. And this again,
as I say,
this
I
is
would like to be able to do that, but it's just not
yeah.
going to
And
happen.
this is not a kick at people that are retired, or, for anyone that isn't a camera club who does a lot of work there. We know you do lots of work, and we know the members appreciate it. But from an outsider's point of view, from where we're sitting, I think we're both in agreement that camera clubs could be doing a lot more, maybe, like I said, moving into more modern ways of doing things, breaking that mold a bit, and actually trying to, you know, be a bit more hip and happening with their camera clubs to encourage new members to come in.
Yeah.
Very rarely do I hear of new members. Like, most times I go to a
No.
camera club meeting, like, oh, we've got 50 members. Okay, how many more this year? Oh, that's it. That's all we've ever had is 50.
Yeah.
So, like, I did a camera talk, actually. I'll do a shout out to the Huon Valley Camera Club. I did a talk down there a couple of months ago, and there was two new people that had come to see my presentation and see how the club worked, and they signed up after the night.
Yeah. There
So
you
that
go.
was great.
Yeah.
I'm not taking any credit, but I'll take a little bit.
No,
Um,
you're taking credit, and that's fine.
I'll take credit. I encouraged them about 6 times through the. Is Sally coming back in again? Is she?
She opened the door and she was standing there watching me do the podcast, and it was really unnerving.
That's weird. Why is she hanging around? That's weird. Does she
I
want to
don't
be a
know.
guest speaker? Does she? Anyway,
Um, yeah.
no. To
She's
to
been
conclude,
on the cams. Let's be honest.
all right. To conclude, camera
Yes.
clubs, they definitely have a place. I don't think they're as beneficial as they could be,
Yes.
but the people that run camera clubs and the people that are part of camera clubs are great people normally, and
Yes.
I encourage them to keep doing that. But if anyone wants to reach out, I don't have much time either, but I've got a little bit of time over the next few months. If you want to throw some ideas off me from a camera club as to, hey, we're thinking of doing this in our camera club, do you think this would work? I'm happy to give you my honest opinion
Yeah.
for what it's worth. Feel free to drop us a message at dsp.com.au. But I think, yeah, the moment someone starts a new camera club that has a different formula to it, the moment camera clubs would be back on the scene, I think there's a real possibility that might happen, that a couple of people put their head together and go, hey, we should start a camera club here,
Mm.
but do it this way.
Yeah.
and watch it reap the rewards.
No, I agree. I think it's due for a revamp. And what I'm finding at the moment, I don't want to call it a renaissance, but there certainly is a newfound passion for photography amongst younger people.
Mm.
And I'm finding that through my shop, and it does relate back to film.
Yeah.
Film's cool, right? We know this. It's been
But
cool for a
how
while
much
now.
knowledge is locked up in camera clubs of people that used to shoot film all the
Well,
time?
that's exactly right. That needs to be unleashed, Cameron.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
do a film night. Bring some get some young people to come in who love film. If you love film and you
yeah,
want to see how we used to do it, come on in. We'll teach you some tricks of
yeah,
the trade.
yeah.
It's easy. There we go.
We'll
We
show
just
you.
created new cameras.
We'll show you why you can't actually open the back of that camera until the film's finished. We'll
Duh.
show you.
Right. Anyway,
Uh,
that
if
was
if you would like to leave us a question, comment, or remark about camera clubs or anything we talk about on the Down South Photo Show, you can leave a comment below this very video right there. It's right next to that big, fat, juicy subscribe button. If you want to hit that subscribe button, we would be great, very grateful.
even if you'd like to leave a detailed summary of why you've unsubscribed, please do.
Yes, that's right. Join us at dsps.com.au, where we have information about our workshops that we run. You can
Do we?
find the YouTube channel link on dsps.com.au for those of you who are not already watching us on YouTube but listening to the audio version of the show. You can also, Cameron, buy us a
Yes.
beer.
No.
Who's bought
Why
us a
would
beer
anyone?
this week, Cam?
There's only been one beer this week, and that was from Jenny.
Hello,
Jenny bought us a beer.
Jenny. You lovely
Uh,
thing. Thank you.
I think. Hang on, let me double check because, like, we've only recorded 3 days ago, so yeah.
True.
So
True.
Jenny, yeah, Jenny, that's
Thanks,
it.
Jenny. Jenny from the block.
Yeah,
Appreciate you. Can we do a bit of gear talk? Still
let's do gear talk. You've been hanging to talk about this, haven't you?
haven't come up with a jingle for gear talk, or a sting as they call it in the business. I'll come up with
We
one.
know what we need to do a shout out for. If anyone's listening, and we're worldwide now, so we're not just
Now you
talking
know Cam's
Australia.
getting serious when he leans into his microphone like this.
Did I? I didn't even know I did it.
You
Hey,
did.
if anyone's out there who's great, we know Craig's great, but if anyone wants to put us together a jingle for Gear Talk or Dear Cam or any of our segments that we crap on about every week, feel free to put together like a little 5-second jingle and send it through to
If
us.
anybody wants to remix our intro music, that would be cool.
There's a competition.
I guarantee you there's an AI program that'll do that for us. But if anyone does, comment below. I'll send you the audio, the MP3 of our intro music. I think it needs a bit of sprucing up, Cameron.
Are we slutting this show out, are we?
Yeah, but now it's time to turn the finger on ourselves and actually pay the shit out of our own show.
This show's shit. You need to get out of the old times. Maybe,
Yes.
hey, you know what? Maybe we need to get people to critique us.
Absolutely. Well, they do.
You
I
know
got
what we
an
need to
email.
do? If we do, you know what we need to do? We need to do a live question and answers show.
Yes, we do.
Just do a live show where we sit there and just get shit slung at us.
Yeah, the live shows are good, and also the we have been lacking guests. We need some guests to come on. Anyway, gear talk.
Yeah, gear talk.
So I've had my new camera now for what, month and a half, maybe 2 months, something like that. Yes, my new camera being the iPhone 15 Pro. From a photographic point of view, I think Apple needs a little cuddle. Something's wrong. Someone's upset at Apple. Who hurt you, Apple? Who hurt you?
Is it Android, Samsung?
The iPhone 15 Pro, to me, has jumped the shark in terms of its photographic ability. Now, I'm finding that there is far too much over-the-top computational crap going on my screen when I'm taking photos with the iPhone 15 Pro. Now, color saturation is off the frickin' charts. It looks like shouldn't say that. No, I won't say that. It looks like somebody has been at the saturation slider in Apple, and they have.
Does it look like something Peter Lick would do?
Blacks are all raised. The contrast is stupid. It's stupid. The iPhone 13, the one model I had before this, was a far more capable camera. Far more capable.
This is not gear talk. This is gear shoot.
Well, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed because you'd think, being the newer one, it would be better. It's not. The sharpening is crap. It's way over the top. it's everything's been pumped up. It's like the camera's on steroids, and
Right.
it's I understand that the 13 Pro was used a lot of computational stuff and photo, for want of a better word, photoshopping to make your photo look better than it actually is. But of late, I've been out taking photo. I've been on a lot of photo walks lately. I'm really happy that I have been, but I've been taking my real camera and then having the phone in my pocket if I want to shoot a quick video clip or if I want to just, line up a composition and that sort of stuff. I look at the screen, I'm like, what am I looking at here? It just looks like a Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. It's just awful. Sickly colors. And it's really annoying me because I mean, there's no the settings. I've just moved from my old phone to the new phone, didn't change any settings. What I haven't done and what I will do for a bit of homework is shoot some raw files with it and see.
Oh, don't do that.
Yeah, probably not. It's probably a mistake, isn't it?
The
But
raw files, the raw files are worse than the JPEGs.
yeah, I used to be a bit of a rap for Apple and their
Yeah,
and the iPhone.
I'm smiling ear to ear inside hearing you say
No,
this because
they've just
you're
crossed
like,
the line.
oh, you thought iPhones were the end of photography photos. Like, oh, the iPhone this, iPhone that. They're
No,
not.
no, they are generally quite good, but this
No,
one, the
maybe you got a
16,
dud.
the 16 would want to be better. No, I don't think I don't know. Maybe I have, but I just know even the video quality has suffered. So my lovely daughter was performing on stage the other night at the school awards, and I just ripped out the camera as you do, and just did a quick little video clip. It was awful. It just looked shocking, and I'm like, what year is this? Come on, we can do better than this.
I was at speaking of school, I was at a school assembly the other day for my kids' school breakup, and I did the same thing. I went into cinematic mode. I do like
Yeah.
cinematic mode,
Yes.
and I thought I'd do a video of my daughter getting an award. She got an award, which is great. And I put it up there, and the face recognition, like there's 300 people in this hall, and
Yes.
there is squares all over the time, all over the screen. I'm trying to lock in to the background where she was going to be. I couldn't even get my finger in between all these face recognitions to do it. It was stupid. So,
Yeah.
oh, look, I think iPhones are fantastic, but they are, they are like the candy cane sort of camera, aren't they? Like they're there to make it look pretty and taste nice without doing anything. Like
Yeah.
that's all
Yeah,
that
I
that's all
agree.
they're
It's
there
it's
for.
it's it's sugary sweet.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think it's got to do with Instagram, TikTok, that
Of
deliver
course it
this
does.
this this fake reality to people. And look, let's call a spade like we do on this show. These companies are there to make money. They're not going to
Of
turn
course
their
they are.
back on their main user that is, using Instagram and using TikTok and using these things, and deliver images that are actually really good photos, but
Yeah.
don't capture people's attention. So if
No.
you take a good photo now that's correctly saturated or correctly exposed, it sort of slides into the ether.
Yeah.
We've gone too far. We've pumped up too much, and
We've,
now
we've,
people are
we've, we
ignoring really good photography.
I would like to start a petition. Can we do that?
We'll put it below.
I would like to see Instagram eat a bag of shit and die. I really think Instagram, Instagram I'm telling you now, I've been saying it for years. No one listens. Instagram has ruined photography. It's not even photography anymore. It's all videos of people doing stupid stuff.
Right.
But the moment that they started, again, it comes back to what we always say about people liking that little hit from getting a like and a follow. Their business is on people liking things and engaging. That's what their business is. So as soon as highly saturated, crappy photos started getting likes and lots of follows, that's it. The good photography and the good, nice, natural shots that we do, that we all do, people that listen to this show, they don't get any attention. And all that does is encourage people to try and put more photos up to get attention. It's a broken system and it's not good. If you're putting your photos up on Instagram and you can't figure out why you're not getting any traction, then your saturation slide is clearly not up to
Yeah.
100,
You're too good a
or
photographer,
or as we said last week, your tits aren't hanging out of your top.
Cameron.
Well, that's it. That's what it is. You know what? I put up a post on Instagram today. I told you last week when I was in Vegas, I had that stop taking selfies.
Yes,
No
yes,
one
yes.
cares. I put up a reel. Is that what they call? I don't know, a
Yep.
reel. And I
Yep.
just put on a black screen, stop taking selfies. No one cares. And that's the most engagement my account's had for weeks.
Yep.
was people sending me messages back saying, "Yeah, unreal, mate. I agree. I agree." And then there was people saying, "But I like taking selfies, and what's it got to do with you? What I do, and all this kind of stuff." It got all this engagement. So,
Yeah.
like, it's a stupid platform.
Yeah.
Um, there must be a better way, and I'd like to start a petition to
Yep.
see Instagram get shut down or reset.
So I think the phrase we're looking for is clickbait.
Yeah, it is. That's what we
Yeah.
do. Clickbait. Every time we put a title
I
up, we do a
I
clickbait.
blame
Last week it was boobs.
I blame clickbait for this.
Yeah,
Which again, and clickbait is getting eyeballs on your page to sell advertising.
yep,
It all comes down to the almighty dollar, and it is
totally does.
ruining
Yeah.
photography, Cameron.
Well, it is like Instagram could be a really good, used to be a really good platform to share your work and get engagement with other like-minded people.
Instagram used to
But
have class, didn't it? It used to
it used
actually
to be good.
be a great platform for photographers.
Yeah, yeah,
But then they realized, because they need to make, how big's your friggin' yacht got to be? But they've decided that, we got to make more money. We have to, how do
yeah,
we do it? Okay, so I see now people are talking about, well, let's make it another social media platform. And that's
yeah.
it. And
That's it.
they just copy what Zuckerberg did. And that's
Yeah,
that.
like I got our good friend Chelsea, who we have to do a shout out to.
Hello,
Chelsea.
Chelsea. It's been a while.
Chelsea's now a mother.
Oh,
Yeah.
yay.
Chelsea's had a newborn, which is good. A
Congratulations,
little
Chelsea.
baby girl, and everything's going
Awesome.
well and healthy, and she looks very happy. I'm still yet to meet young child, but I've been away. But
Cameron and I know only too well how awesome daughters are. So
that's
congratulations.
right. Excellent. But Chelsea used to do and still does a bit of my social media stuff. And for years I've been saying to shut Instagram down. It's not, she goes, "Oh no, it's a good business tool." I'm like, "It's crap. Shut it down." "Oh
Yeah.
no, it's really good. It's really good." So she won't let me shut it down, but I will shut it down one day soon, I reckon, because it gives me absolutely no benefit at all.
No.
It's just filled with crap, and the good photos that you want to see, you don't see, and all you see is just crap.
Yeah.
So if you're wasting time on Instagram these days, I think Facebook, if you have a Facebook page, I think that gets more traction these days.
Yeah.
Or what is it? Also, what's that other one? Is Flickr? Flickr is a good one.
Flickr can make a
Uh,
massive comeback, please.
yeah, but
Flickr used to be great.
Instagram, eat a bag of dicks. I
Yes.
don't like it
Okay.
anymore.
I'm with you.
Moving on. Now,
Moving right along.
this will test you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Photo.
Photography. Sorry, was that a throw? That was the worst throw
That's
ever.
right. Oh, you idiot.
Photography word of the week.
This is a good one.
Is this a new segment?
It is, because I've got a big, massive friggin' photographics encyclopedia that I'm just going to pick a word out each week, and you have to try and guess what it is.
First of all, I have to say it.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
ready?
is it
I'm saying it.
off-limit?
Hold,
Oh, you're
please
saying.
hold.
Okay,
Please
so
hold.
please hold. All right.
Photography word of the week. It's actually two words, but this
Well,
will be this
okay, whatever.
off ophthalmic. No,
Off-limit.
ophthalmic. O P
Off-limit.
H T O P H T H. Now, how can O P H and T H be put together in the same word? This is not right.
It's photography.
Ophthalmic. Ophthalmic photography.
Yeah, what do you think ophthalmic photography is? Daniel, I was going to call you Daniel then. Brendan?
5-star. I'll take that. No idea. I don't even know any Latin, so it's obviously
I don't know if that's Latin, is it?
ophthalmic.
It could be, that could be optical, it could be thermal, there could be
I
Hollywood.
could be Googling off screen. No, I'm not.
No,
No, sorry.
no, let it go.
I'm not
No,
Googling. Look,
no.
both hands well up.
All
Please,
right.
Cameron.
Well, ophthalmic photography is a specialized form of biomedical photography that combines anatomical and medical knowledge of the eye with photographic artistry and state-of-the-art technology in the diagnosis and treatment of eye-related disorders.
Now there was a dude at the Yamundi markets that used to do iris photography.
Yeah, I saw one the other day in America. It was
Is that the
all,
same? Is that what we're talking about here?
well, maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know.
And they could look
Yeah.
at your iris really close, like super macro,
Yeah.
and diagnose issues.
Yeah. There was a lady at a market I saw in America. So this ophthalmic photography is those real, almost looks like the sun, it's just that red in the veins. And
Yeah,
so it's
awesome.
really getting into the eye. But I would say a form of it is, with those beautiful colors of the eyes and the pupils and stuff like that. People are doing some really cool stuff with that at the moment. So they're doing like
Mm.
frame prints on metallic paper or metallic frames.
Like a close up of that blue part of my eye, right?
Yeah, and it looks really cool. So that's what it means. Each week I'm going to give you a word out of my massive book.
Okay.
It's a huge book, massive
Yep.
book. How thick it is. That's thicker than
My,
us.
what a massive dictionary you have.
That's a terrible joke. But anyway, we haven't got a dear cam, have we? No.
No, we haven't. So next week, if you've got a dear cam, please
Jingle.
send us one in. Next week will be our second last episode for the year. I would have thought, being that it's Christmas at the end of next week. So I don't know
Christmas
why I'm
edition.
mentioning that. It just feels apt to say that this is our second last show. We might have to have an end of year spectacular, Cameron.
Or a piss up.
We have that every week. So quick shout out for our 1 day workshops in January here on the Bellarine Peninsula with the good man on the other screen or in your other ear if you're listening to the show. And myself, January the 18th has 2 spots left. Is that right? Am I reading that
That
right?
is correct. No, you're right. That's 2
Yep.
spots left on the 18th, and the
That's the
19th,
Thursday. And on
it
the
is a Thursday.
Friday is gone. You can't, the Friday, we're done. Sorry.
Sold out.
Sold out. But there are 2 spots left on January the 18th. So please come and join us for a day, an afternoon at least, of fun and frivolity here on the Bellarine Peninsula.
And how much is it, Brendan?
I have no idea, Cameron. No, I literally don't know.
I know. That's why I asked. So what do you get?
$20,000. Surely it
No,
must
it's
be.
not. No, it's $195. And
What?
we will meet somewhere down near your shop or somewhere close to Point
We actually,
Lonsdale.
we will. We will.
Yeah, and it starts at around about sort of 2 in the afternoon. I think that's right.
Correct.
And we'll go until sunset, and you
Yep.
can just enjoy yourself. I'll have all my Olympus stuff there if you want to try some Olympus gear.
Yep.
But we'll be there, and we can answer any question.
Yep.
We can help with anything. We'll put you in some really cool spots. We'll see if we can cue the big giant seal that crawls across the road.
How good was that last year? I think most importantly, you'll get 7 hours of our knowledge, and 7 hours in some really grouse locations.
Grouse.
It's
a hard sell us for 7 hours. We're lucky to sell an hour on here.
It'll be awesome.
But yeah, two spots left, so come on board.
And you have to go to the Piping Hot Chicken Shop for lunch before you come, and you might meet Cameron and I there because Cam does like the chicken shop.
Well, you introduced me to the chicken shop.
It's a good spot.
It is a good spot. So, and we also have our Great Ocean Road workshop that is happening in May next year,
and selling fast.
It is. We've got 3 spots left on that, I believe.
Yep, we do.
So that one's a good one to come along. So that's 4 days. So that's a multi-day one. And that is selling. It's all on the website, dsp.com.au.
dsps.com.au.
DSPS. What did I say? DSP.
You said DSP. Let's an S off.
That's my old Centrelink Working Days DSP. Disability Support Pigeon.
dsps.com.au.
Hey, I'm going to give a quick shout out to an old friend of mine who doesn't listen to the show, but it was cool to catch up with. A guy called Rob. He's one of my brother's good friends. He is a lovely guy, very well knowledged in outback forward driving and doing all these kind of things. He's done some incredible jobs over the year. He's driven trucks. He's taken geologists out to the middle of nowhere for days on end to help him out and things like that. Anyway, we spent 4 weeks a few years ago going to Cape York and back, Rob and I, as part of the little group we're in. But I was going through the beautiful township of Sheffield the other day, dropping off some of the Cradle Mountain books to Cradle Mountain in Sheffield. And lo and behold, there's Rob on the main street of Sheffield with his cowboy hat on. He actually works for Services Australia. He's one of the truck drivers that, that remote bus and truck that goes around all different places for Centrelink.
I do.
He drives that. And I drove past and like, geez, that looks like Rob. And it was Rob. So we had a quick chat and said g'day. And
Rob in Tassie.
So Rob, but he's actually from country Victoria. So g'day, Rob.
He'll be listening.
No, he has no interest at all.
Whereabouts in country Victoria?
Well, not that country. He's in Narberthon.
Oh yeah,
up at the back of Yarra Glen.
Nice neck of the woods, Yarra Glen. Used to do the Yarra Glen markets.
There you go.
I tell you what, that's it. That's the podcast.
That's it. Right.
Cam's having a nice little sabbatical at the moment.
Well, kids
Not much
finished school
coming up.
today, so I'm on daddy daycare now.
That's it, attaboy. And we have, goodness me, didn't the didn't the retailers come out today in force? Christmas is well and truly with us. It was a massive day at
Oh,
Ocean Grove Camera and Photo. So
right.
thank you to everyone who came out today, and we have strapped ourselves in for a very, very big week. So looking
Mm.
forward to that, so that I can get to Christmas Day and chill out with the fam bam and relax.
Speaking of Christmas, I put out something to all my subscribers the other day about my Cradle Mountain Overland Track book that
Yes,
has been jointly done with TP from that other podcast that no one listens to,
yes.
um, doing free shipping on that book. So
Oh,
anywhere in
nice.
Australia. So jump on my website, tazphoto.com.au, grab yourself a Christmas gift for someone and we'll send it to you for free.
It's a very good book. I happen to have a signed copy.
Oh, very good. Hey,
Tom
last thing
signed it.
before we what his thumbprint, that'd be about all he can sign. Hey, last thing before we go,
Yes, sir.
how many people did we offend on this episode?
Uh, 43
43. Yeah.
at
I
least.
reckon we're going to get at least one or two feedback messages about that.
By the way, we had a few comments that people actually do listen this far in the show, so we probably should straighten up and fly right.
So don't say tits or boobs.
Just got something in my eye. That's it. That's
And
the podcast.
maybe you need some ophthalmic photography to
I
help you
do,
out there.
correct. Thank you for joining us for episode 104 of the Down South Photo Show. We will see you for episode 105, highly likely next week.
Hmm.
Hmm.
You sound like Pete Smith then.
You can say goodbye now, Cameron.
Goodbye now, Cameron.
Cheerio.